everyone just said, I'm Ella, but I'm going to talk on the nature of connection. So, if we look around the world and our environment, we can see that connection is used to thrive on many different organisms. Just like in this simple ecosystem, we have plant producers interacting with animal consumers like deer or bunnies, and we have countless different symbiotic, mutually beneficial relationships at play. And beyond that, there's millions of interdependencies that we can't even see from a simple image or in-depth research. There's some actually really cool, more specific niche examples of connection in nature. So for one, it's starlings. Starlings are birds that use murmurations, which is the speed of flapping of their wings, to communicate to one another in a split second. This helps them form thousands of different flight variations and paths in the sky that will help them effectively migrate to where they're trying to go. The next one's coral. Coral uses chemical signals in the water to effectively communicate with each other about predators or resources, and some scientists find that they might even have DNA in them that allows them to recognize sound waves. And then we have my favorite, which is mushrooms, but more specifically mycelium. Mycelium is a network of roots that helps mushrooms and trees communicate with one another. It can span miles under the ground, and like coral, it communicates about predators, resources. It's known as nature's network, and hundreds of thousands of connections can happen in a given second. So, it's evident that connection is prevalent in the world around us. It helps animals and organisms to thrive. However, we as humans often go against this natural inclination to connect with one another. We'll avoid small talk, we'll avoid new engaging opportunities to meet new people, we fear networking, even with the activity everyone did. So thank you for everyone who did the anonymous activity, but through this activity, 1,000 or more compliments could have been transmitted. And although we're such a people-focused organization, I don't think we'd reach that number of compliments in a given week, a given semester, or a given year. So why, when we strip away our identity, are we more likely to say something nice to someone else? Are we more likely to say that we want to reach out to them or even hang out with another person? Why do humans resist connection? It comes down at large to a human paradox. The University of Arizona has found that connection makes us happy. People who connect with more people in a given day or even throughout their lifetime typically report higher levels of life satisfaction and higher levels of well-being. Additionally, more conversations in a day will also contribute to higher well-being and maximizing your potential for well-being. However, there's three concepts that prevent and hold us back from reaching these benefits that connections can so clearly bring us. The first one is conversation enjoyment. The University of Arizona has found that for some reason, before we even have a conversation with someone, we often assume that the conversation will be less enjoying or bring us less joy than it actually does, or we'll assume that the conversation partner we have will enjoy the conversation less than we do. The second is interpersonal liking. This is studied by the University of Pennsylvania, and they identified the liking gap, which is very similar to the conversation enjoyment, but also just assuming that the other person will like you less than you like them. And finally, we have conversational ability. Harvard University has found that there's thousands of ways we can go wrong when we're having a conversation with someone. We can talk too fast, we can talk too slow, tell the wrong stories, use the wrong inflections, and just knowing that there's so many ways we can mess up makes us misidentify our ability to competently communicate to other people without even giving ourselves a chance to communicate in the first place. So, I'm just wondering, raise your hand if you've ever felt like one of those three concepts I just talked about has held you back in networking, making a friendship, or just a small interaction in an elevator. Okay. So it's clear we've all struggled in some ways by these self-imposed limits we put on ourselves. And now I'm wondering if anyone's ever had one small, or maybe it was a longer, conversation with a stranger that's made a positive impact on them that they still remember to this day. There's also a lot of people who have felt this way. So it's clear that we're not alone in putting boundaries on ourselves, and it's also clear that we have the immense ability to impact others positively with a very short amount of time. So how can we dismantle these boundaries we put in place for ourselves, and how can we reframe connection? The first one is having one positive experience. Research shows that if you face rejection, and I know we've all talked to people who just are not giving back in a conversation, even if you face a lot of different rejection, when you have one positive experience, you are 10 times as likely to continue to reach out to some other person or to keep conversing with other people. So it's important not to let rejection hold you back, but to keep looking for that one positive example to push you forward. The second is to stop underestimating yourself. Every single concept I talked about in the last slide is rooted in underestimating yourself. Thinking you're unlikable, thinking you can't talk to someone, thinking your conversation is not going to be enjoyable. I know for me, at FLC, I really loved my interview and my interviewers, but I wasn't certain that I was going to get in. I didn't know if I put myself out there like I wanted to, but I'm here, and I think that just goes to show that underestimating yourself is a huge factor in preventing you from pursuing further connection. And finally is perceived enjoyment. We can reframe connection as a pro-social behavior. So thinking, how can my conversation with someone else better them? And how you're gracing them with your presence so their life is going to improve, and not what do they think of you, what can you get from them. If pursuing natural connection isn't enough of an incentive to start connecting with others, there are many other benefits, especially professionally. The greatest thinker in the world, Bill Nye, said that everyone you will ever meet knows something you don't. And this is without a doubt true. Whether it's personally learning more culturally about someone, or just finding out what the right hours are at Marston or Chick-fil-A, you can learn something from anybody, especially professionally with opportunities here on campus, since this is such a big place to be and everyone has different ideas of what's going on. So the stats also find that 85% of jobs are filled through networking, that there's higher job offers typically correlated to jobs found through networking, and that 25% of people don't network. So if you're one of the people who do network and you're up against someone with similar qualifications, you're automatically at an advantage because you just decided to put yourself out there and naturally pursue connection. I know a girl that found a job working at Disney just because she started talking to another random girl at the pool and her dad ended up working there. So you really never know where a connection is going to lead you, personally or professionally. So if I have one thing to say going forward today, please connect with me on but more importantly, push yourself out of your comfort zone to talk to other people. Start dismantling your expectations of others and yourselves and just give things a shot. It's important to know that nature thrives on connection. We should too. If coral, that doesn't even have a brain, can connect with itself, I think it's totally attainable for us as people to do it as well. And don't let a mushroom have more connections than you. Thank you.